What would you do if your sister married not one of your ex-husbands, but two? That's right. And then, what would you do when you finally come face to face with this sister after years of not being around her, only to find out another deep dark secret that she's been hiding this whole time? Yeah, it's a pretty sticky story. No one wants to be left by their significant other, especially not by someone else. I've had to experience the worst betrayal a woman can go through. My sister marrying my ex-husband. They did not cheat on me. They waited until we've been divorced for a couple months and then they announced their relationship. As you can imagine, I was absolutely fuming. When I found out, I was in the middle of a hair appointment and I managed to mess up the color of the client's hair because my mind was racing at 1,000,000 miles per hour. I was boiling with anger, wanting to end her with my own 2 hands myself. I'll have to admit, my heart felt like it's been shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. Like, what kind of sister does that? After I finished work, I went to her place, where she refused to open the door because she feared for my safety. She thought that what happened the last time would happen again. And she had every right to, because I was not there to talk or offer congratulations. I wanted to know what it was that I've done to her for her to move on with my ex. We don't live in a small town. In contrast, we live in a big city, where there were many prospects for her to date. However, for the second time, she was taking a man from me. That's right, this is not the first time that she's doing something like this to me. This is the second time. I'm now 37 years old, and I've had 2 failed marriages. My first marriage was when I was 19. We were young and hardly ready for marriage, so it failed after 3 years. We have a child together who's now 17. About a year after we got divorced, my sister decided to start dating him in secret. I only found out about it when I went to her house unannounced and caught them in a compromising position. I went off at my sister. We had a physical altercation and she ended up in the hospital with a broken nose. My family tried to get us to make peace with each other, but we did not speak for months. But, as they say, blood calls to blood. When she was having problems in that relationship, she ended up staying with me for a while. I eventually learned to live with it, and I realized that sometimes relationships just have the wrong timing. As long as Melissa was happy, then I was happy. I swallowed my feelings and decided to be the bigger person. That was the time I decided to focus on myself. I didn't go to college. Instead, I married my first husband. So now that I was not married and my daughter was now a bit more grown, I decided to attend cosmetology school. There, I became a qualified hairdresser, working in multiple cities, and I met my second husband when I was 30 years of age. I was not looking for love, but it found me. This time, I waited 2 years and then we got married. We didn't have kids together, but he had a child of his own who remains like my own son to this day. A year ago, our marriage was failing because of constant fights and money. Something that no one knows about him is that he is a gambling addict. We've been in debt several times over the years because of his irresponsible financial habits. Finally, I decided that enough was enough and I left him. It's been over a year since I saw him and I thought he left town after our divorce. What I did not know was that my sister tracked him down. Melissa was already divorced from my first husband, and he decided that he wanted to be a free bachelor and travel the world. I haven't heard from him in ages. His daughter does not remember his face at all, and he stopped paying for child maintenance years ago, and I'm already tired of trying to get him to pay what he owes. So that's the situation with me and my ex-husband, Michael. As for my second husband, Richard, he ended up getting into a relationship with Melissa without his knowledge. Now, I know I forgave her for the first time, but I will not for the second. Now it's going to become a habit. It's sick. Who goes and dates 2 of her sister's ex-boyfriends, let alone husbands? Well, I went to her house and she refused to talk to me, which was fine. I messaged my mother and asked if she knew. She said no, but she would speak to my sister because her actions were hurtful. I don't know what good my mother speaking to her brought. I got a message in the middle of the night from my sister telling me to just accept it and move on. She said that she had no control over it and I should be happy for her. She also wanted to tell me that she and Richard will be getting married soon. Obviously, I have ill wishes when it comes to their wedding. Their relationship is already based on lies, but you know who I blame the most for this mess? Myself. Before you say that I should not blame myself, you have to know my relationship dynamic with my sister over the years. Melissa was born prematurely when I was 4 years old. She had a lot of health complications growing up and was the center of attention. She's fine now, but when she was growing up, she was very sick. When my parents were not there, I was the one who took care of her. I had no such thing as a social life when I was growing up. Wherever I went, she went there. She started to develop similar taste than mine in terms of fashion, dating, and friends. Most people actually thought that we were twins. But there was one thing that distinguished us, and that was her intelligence. I'm not ashamed to admit, my sister's IQ is higher than mine. Because of that, she was the golden child who could get away with almost anything. I lived with it and did not feel bad about it because I was just happy that her health was declining. When she finished school, she chose to go to college instead of getting married. She did a short course and then she came back to stay at home. And that was when she met my then husband. We divorced some months later and she took him. My sister has a better life than me and she managed to finish her degree and got a nice job in an office. She is no doubt my parents' favorite, and I've made peace with the fact that I will never be that. But she is stuck up and not down to earth. She's very entitled and she takes what she wants and does not care about how anybody feels. And since everyone's scared of her, nobody dares reprimand her no matter how bad what she does is. This is where I messed up. I treated her like an egg and allowed her to do as her heart pleased. Now she doesn't know boundaries and appears to be suffering from something which makes, well, her take whichever man I'm in love with. And now I've just found out that she's getting married soon. I called my mother and confronted her, and she said that I will find somebody. I should just let my sister be. It clicked that my mother never even talked to her about her behavior, and so I've done what I should have done a long time ago. I applied to be transferred to a different branch of my salon. I've put my house up for sale, and I've already started looking for schools for Georgina, my daughter. Melissa can have her wedding in peace, knowing that I am not going to interrupt her. So, I blocked her and my family on all my accounts, and if I fight this, no one's going to have my back. They all jump when Melissa says so, therefore I believe that I need to remove myself from the equation. Do you think I did the right thing by uprooting my life just because I don't want to be in the same town as the people who betrayed me? Should I have just accepted them? Well, I don't know. What's up everybody, Mr. Reddito here. So today's story is very unique, and why I say that, the next update did not come out for a whole year. That's right, it's been exactly 1 year since the last update. Let's go ahead and jump into update number 1, and if you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing as it really does support me, and only 5% of active viewers are subscribed to the channel. So go ahead and smash that subscribe button if you want to. Let's jump into the next update. It's been a year since I last spoke to any of my family. So you can imagine how I felt when my mother showed up at my door. I wondered how she even knew where I was staying. She said that she just missed me and wanted to see me. I could not turn away somebody who came from so far. Despite how my relationship with her is strained, she told me that everyone at home was doing well and that my sister recently fell pregnant with her first child. Before my mother could start telling me to reach out, I told her to never mention my sister in my house again. I've managed to restart my life. It turns out that the move was what I needed in order to change my life for the absolute better. When I moved, it was cheaper to buy a house. I bought a 2-bedroom home and had enough to change and buy a mobile truck. This was where I started to work for myself on the weekend. Soon, I had enough money to hold myself and my daughter over for several months after I quit my job. We managed to survive for several months, even if it was on a budget. I made friends with this other woman who was renting out some space at a shopping center, and we managed to strike up a deal, and soon I owned my own business. My daughter has also been doing well in school. This school is even better than the last one. It has extracurricular activities, which will help her when she's applying for college one day. She's also started working during the school holidays so that she can save up to buy her own fabric. She enjoys designing and making clothes. The artistic gene does not run strong on our side of the family. As you can see, the unexpected arrival of my mother has upset the balance in my life. I've not thought of my family in ages. I feel that leaving was the best choice at the moment, and if I had stayed, I would never made peace with my sister's actions. We've been through this once, and we were always arguing and fighting. I started to lose weight due to all the stress, and I turned to unhealthy habits just so that I could cope. I refused to go back to that and to let her ruin my life once again. She has no power over me, but then I think that there's something that my mother is hiding from me. I know my own mom, and she has something on her mind. I hope that she's not unwell, as that will complicate things. If she is unwell, then I might have to go back in contact with the rest of the family. People who failed to take my side when I needed them the most. No, I am tired of speculating. I have to know what it is that she's keeping from me. Update number 2. I wish I never asked. Well, here's the next update, and I wish I never asked because now I've been forced to go back to my past. I don't think anyone understands that what my sister did hurt me deeply. Because of that, I'm scared to get into a relationship because she might just snatch him. I cannot forgive her because she chose those men over me. I don't want to see her face or hear her face ever again. It's just so much better that we remain separate. That would be the ideal choice, but unfortunately, I don't get to choose. For I'm back in town and I have to interact with her yet again. My mother finally told me what was bothering her. She told me that she was experiencing high blood pressure because of stress. When my sister fell pregnant, she became sick. It was not just the morning sickness caused by her first trimester. She was constantly low on energy, and one day, she collapsed. When she went to the hospital, she was told that she had a rare kidney disease, and in addition, her fetus was not forming properly. She tried to hang on until the second trimester, but now they had to hospitalize her. When her husband found out, he panicked and disappeared, and no one ever knows where he went. They did test upon test, which concluded that she needed a kidney from somebody related to her. So, for the past month, my mother has been tracking down all of our family members and getting them tested, just to see if they're a match. So far, no one's a match. What is going to happen if she does not find a match soon? That she'll have to terminate her pregnancy. She should have terminated already, but she said she refuses since she was not in any imminent danger. So, my mother came all the way from our town just to try to appeal. Well, so that my daughter and I could get tested. She hopes that if one of us is a match, she can save her daughter. It would be ideal to save the fetus, but the doctor is recommending against it. The sad part is that if she does this, she might never have another child again. She's just dropped the bombshell on me, and I don't know how to react. She's my blood sister, but when I think of her, my blood boils. Part of me feels like this is happening to her because of all the pain that she's caused me. My grandmother used to say that the tears you cause other people to shed accumulate, and later come back as suffering in your life. So now my mother's waiting for an answer from me. Should I get tested so I may know if I'm a match or not? And if I am a match, do I even want to save her? Update number 3. Hey guys, well, I've made my choice, but it was with conditions. I was not even sure that I was a match for my sister, let alone that I wished to save her. Then there's the fact that they wanted to involve my daughter. They fed me pamphlets and videos, all claiming that I would be safe. They hounded me with messages every day, trying to persuade me. Suddenly, it appeared I was responsible for the future happiness of the family. So, then I made a decision, but not a promise. 1, my daughter would not be an option. 2, I would get tested, but if I was a match, then it would be up to me to help her or not. After all, I cannot ignore my personal feelings toward my sister. Even knowing that she's dying has not softened my heart. Does that mean that I'm a bad person? So, I told them my conditions and they told me that they would support it. I never thought I would be a match for her. After all, our brother was not a match. None of our extended family was a match, but, well, as you would have it, I was the perfect match for my sister. I went to visit her before making a decision, and I just needed to look her in the eyes and maybe feel, well, if she's worth saving. I visited her at the hospital one night and stayed there for an hour. We barely talked about anything, just a little bit of small talk. She told me that she was going to have to, well, get rid of her pregnancy because the child was putting a strain on her body. She also told me that her husband had disappeared due to the stress, but she felt that he would come back soon. He just needed a bit of time to think. Well, I don't have the heart to tell her that Richard is not like that. When things get difficult, he just runs. That is one of the things that ended our relationship in the first place. I told her that I was going to see her the next day and went back to my motel. It was a hard night as I considered the fact that my only sister was dying. How could this happen when I was so angry at her? I felt that by helping her, I was being forced to forgive her betrayal of my trust. But unknown to me, she had already gone ahead and told everyone that I agreed to help her and forgive her. When I went to the hospital the next day, the whole family was there and they all treated me like I was the savior. Everyone thanked me, telling me that I would be blessed forever for everything I was about to do. Well, I didn't say a word, and now that I think of it, well, I should have. I definitely should have said a word, but it was an ambush. The perfect way to make me feel like I could not refuse them. They knew how I hated disappointing people, and they used that against me, so I told myself that I would just do it, and afterward, I would never speak to her again. Ever. Well, rip it off like a band-aid, even though she did not deserve it. My choice was motivated by the fact that the whole family was manipulating and guilt-tripping me. If I said no, then I would look like a complete a-hole. So, I booked an appointment with the doctor to find out how everything would be done, and he told me that I was a match, and I could save her life, but there were risks on both sides, of course. He said that I would carry the biggest risk of the donor. It was a 70% risk because of the state of my health and my age. Wow, it made me think I have a daughter who has a chance of losing me all because I will be saving her aunt? What guarantee do I have that if I don't make it, the surviving family members will take her in? They're all putting pressure on me because it's not them who has to make a sacrifice. But I know every single one of my family members, and I fail to see which one of them is truly selfish. I talked to the doctor, went home, and did more research. And then I went to sleep one night and had a terrible dream that I simply would not make it. The dream scared me. I have nothing in my savings, my child would suffer if I wasn't here, and I don't consider my parents because they're already retired and living within their means. As for my sister, well, it's not like she's at death's door. She's on dialysis and can live for a long time on it. The only thing she'll have to deal with is losing her baby. So I decided to send out a message to the important family members telling them the situation. They responded that I was being selfish since my sister is already going to lose her kid. Well, I told them that my child has no one except for me, and I'm not going to put myself in danger for a sister that betrayed me. They told me that I'm heartless and I will rot. I told them that I never promised them anything. I said I would make an informed decision. It was them that took whatever she said and just ran a marathon with it. It's not my problem. This is my body and this is my life. For once, I want to make selfish decisions that benefit my daughter's future. If that makes me a bad person, then so be it. I mean, I'm not responsible for my sister's illness. Update. I had no choice. Well, once again, guys, my family, well, they won. I did it. They told important people in my life, people they knew could sway me on those people to get me to do it. My sister did end up having to have the pregnancy terminated. I decided to save her, but it did not mean that things would change. No. But before I did it, I managed to get them to sign a contract that if something happened to me, they're all liable to take care of my daughter. My daughter also knew this before surgery, so here's a little bit of a side note. Michael came back conveniently enough, and when I said that I was going to help my sister out, she took him back, and despite what he did and did not even seem upset. I saw then that she was foolishly in love with him and that one day that man was going to ruin her. But that was none of my business. I had the surgery done and it was a success, and when I woke up I was alone. Only my daughter was in my room, and my parents occasionally came to visit me, but I saw none of the family members. I went to visit my sister, and she did not even say thank you. I expected one. After all, I risked my life for her. And there was the painful recovery process where nobody came to see me. I took longer to recover, which meant that business was going bad. I got help from my friends and my boyfriend, but my family members kept on saying that I stayed too far. No one even got me a gift basket or nothing. My parents checked on me in the beginning, but in the end, the messages stopped coming. I knew when they were not just, coming here anymore. They were too focused on my sister. I could see on social media how she documented her recovery, yet she did never ever reach out to me. After everything, I thought she might try to fix things between us, but instead, I was discarded and everyone moved on with their lives. I managed to get back to work, but due to physical limitations, I could not take on a lot of clients in a day. The expenses piled up to the point where I had to ask for help from my family. Every single one of them told me that they had nothing, and so I borrowed from friends just to make ends meet. I got tired of trying to maintain a relationship with my family. You would think after going through something like that together, we would be close. And now imagine if something has happened to me during surgery. Sure, I tried to secure my daughter's future, but I'm sure they would have all figured out a way to dodge the responsibility. I learned then that being a good Samaritan is not the best way to go about it. And then, this morning I get a phone call. They said that something happened to my sister. I don't know what it is, but I'm not going there. Update. It was no use. Hey guys, it appears the surgery was of no use. Even though I was a perfect match, her body ended up rejecting my kidney. One of the main reasons why it was rejected is because she did not take good care of herself when she recovered, despite the doctor telling her. She was in the hospital for the entire weekend, and when I went to visit her, she blamed me. She made it seem like I lied to her about being healthy. She refused to admit that she was the one in the wrong. She and her husband helped each other out to shout at me, and then they had me thrown out. I swore then that it was the last time I would speak to her. It was the last time indeed. One Monday afternoon, she passed away due to complications in surgery. So even though I gave her a second lease on life, she messed it up. My mother was the one who told me, but after getting that phone call, I just decided to block her. I was not attending her funeral, and the last words she said to me haunted me. I feel no remorse for her death. I lost her a long time ago due to her multiple betrayals, and true to my word, I did not attend the funeral. I have no idea where she's even buried. I was content to move on with my life, but then karma was hard at work. Richard, her husband, thought that he was going to benefit from her life insurance, but it appears that she, has not updated it in years. The last time she updated it was years ago when we made amends. She left everything to my parents and myself, but nothing to him. My sister's lawyer is the one who then called me and let me know the unexpected news. I didn't know how to feel, but my friends told me that maybe I should try and remember only the good things about her. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of glorifying people who, have passed away if they were not good people in life. But I did take the money because it annoyed Richard to no end. When he found out that I was a beneficiary, he tried to put pressure on the family so that I could give up the money. They had no interest in helping him and said that he had to suck it up. So, he decided it was best to spam my phone with messages and insults. He said that she was going to haunt me because when she passed away, she hated me. I told him that she was the one who put me in her will. Who was I to go against her wishes? But he was like a starving wolf on a full moon. He would not let go of the issue to the point where it got scary. I knew I had to draw the line in the sand when he fetched my daughter from school. And when I found out, oh boy, he gave me a cryptic threat. I asked around where I used to stay and found out that he was in massive amounts of debt, and that was why he needed the money so desperately. It is my job to save someone who has decided to dig themselves into a hole they can never crawl out of, especially after he used my child to get to me. I told him that he deserved all that was coming to him. He did not deserve her money, not after leaving her while she was carrying his child. Even my mother agrees with me on this part. I told him that the next time he came after me or my daughter, he would end up behind bars, no ifs, ands, or buts. I am not scared of him, especially when he thinks he can use my daughter to get to me. Everyone knows that you should never mess with a mama bear. Final update. Well, I might have wait a long time, but I got my own back. Every single person who has hurt me has gotten a taste of their own medicine. Let me tell you what I mean. My first husband, he was caught red-handed stealing and exposing stolen credit card clones and jailed in a foreign country. He has not once supported his daughter since he left, so I'm far from feeling sorry. The second got badly beaten up by the police to whom he owes money. I've not heard from him since then, but I hope I never have to see his face again. After splitting the money, my parents and I stopped talking. I think it's best. They treated my sister like a golden child, and that led to me suffering the most of my adult life. I have my true family, which is my daughter, Georgina, and my husband, Harris. That's correct. My relationship was a success, and he proposed weeks back. We decided to have a simple court wedding, and then an after-party with our friends and his family. His family welcomed me despite the fact that I have a child and have been married twice before. It is quite ironic because I told myself that I would not get married ever again after what happened to me. But I guess that the third time is the charm. Another thing, my daughter is going off to college soon to study fashion design. She's been working very hard and, I've decided to use part of the money I got from my sister to pay for her studies. I used the rest to expand my business, which is actually doing very well. I never thought I could let go of the pain. But now that I have, it simply feels amazing. I guess I got the last laugh. Alright guys, so I was able to find 2 comments on the polar opposite ends of each other. Well, it still turns out these were 2 of the top comments, so it got a lot of attention back and forth. I'll read these comments and then let's discuss it below. Comment number 1 says, "Wow, what a roller coaster of a story. I can't believe how much the protagonist had to go through, especially with her family constantly betraying her. It's really unfortunate that her sister ended up rejecting her kidney after all of that. But it's also understandable that she would not want to attend her funeral after all the pain she caused. It's great to hear that she was able to find love again and build a happy family with her daughter and new loving husband. And it's amazing that she was able to use the money from her sister's will to pay for her daughter's college. I like the ending of the story, but it was still really sad." Comment number 2, completely opposite by the way, here it is. The story, well, it's just straight up sad. It's a shame that the protagonist of the story, aka OP, had to go through all this pain and betrayal from her family. And it's even sadder that her sister ended up dying in the end. I mean, it's understandable that she did not want to attend the funeral after everything that happened. I do agree with the first comment, but it's still a difficult thing to go through. And while it's great that she was able to find love and happiness with her new husband, it's a shame that she had to go through 2 failed marriages before finding him. Also, a bit concerning that she used the money from her sister's will to expand her business and pay for her daughter's education, given that her sister probably would not have wanted that. Overall, it's just a really tough situation. Guys, I agree way more with comment 1, simply because in comment 2 it says that's not what the sister would have wanted, but realistically, how does the commenter even know that? Guys, I would like to hear from you. Which side are you on in this one? Thank you for watching this story. If you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe for more daily videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see ya.